All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we are again, coming live and direct from the hotel in Birmingham, Alabama. I'll be the first to tell you, Birmingham, Alabama ain't that bad, but if you're planning a trip, skip Birmingham, Alabama, all right? Do yourself a favor. You ain't missing nothing. So, the topic of this evening's video is women are smarter than you think. Now, I have two daughters. One of them's 24. One of them's 1. All right? The first one I had comes from a former stripper who wasn't a stripper anymore when I met her. She had retired from stripping. She was only 24 years old. She was super hot, super young, super fertile. We got married before we had a daughter. So I'm not just going around impregnating all kinds of strippers out of wedlock, all right? So yeah, was it the best choice? No, it wasn't. But we do what we can in this life, right? The second daughter of mine, who's 1, is from a Harvard grad, Ivy League school, multi-millionaire family, Southern California, super upper class chick, right? The results from both of those arrangements are almost identical. So, I just give you that information as an example that I have extensive experience on various sides of the spectrum here. From one end, where you can go after low-class women that are involved in things like sex work, to upper-class women that are worth millions of dollars and are involved in things like graduating from Ivy League colleges, universities. I stand corrected. Anyway, women are much, much smarter than you might think. If you watch a lot of my videos, you'll understand that that's my stance on things. If you were just to take a very cursory level kind of overview, you may be confused by myself or other guys like me that put out video content like this where we're trying to correct the record and educate other guys about how this shit actually works when you try to initiate relationships with women. They play dumb. They're not actually nearly as dumb as they want you to think they are. The reason that they play dumb is because they don't want to be involved in anything that could be loosely associated with accountability. And that, my friends, is the rub. Example. Let me ask you a question. Why is it that overweight, out of shape, kind of slob-ish, drug dealing, street guys would get infinitely more attention from attractive women, and even like 4s and 5s? Most of my experiences in life are with like 6s to 9s. I've been smart enough since a very, very, very young age to have experience with like 9s and what I would consider 10s. I'm from Southern California, Northern California, Southern California, back and forth. So I know what 10s are. And there's it's possible you go your whole entire life and never see an actual 10 with your own eyes in person, okay? But you'll see a few 9s, and you may see an abundance of 7s and 8s, depending on if you live in a major city like San Diego, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Miami, etc. Anyway, Why would it be that these kind of street guys get an infinitely more measurable amount of attention from these very attractive women than your blue collar guys? And your blue collar guys, they get up before the sun comes up. They go get in the truck and they go out into the world and they use their own hands and their brains and their back muscles to build the actual world that you need to survive, because you don't fucking do anything. You don't grow any food. You don't build the roads that you drive on, the cars that you use, the phones that you use, all of the telecom infrastructure that you need. You don't do any of that shit. You have no idea how anything works, how to fix it when it breaks, how to rebuild it when it falls down, how to dispose of it when it's overused, or how to create anything new. Now, I'm saying that in a massive generality, but for the most part, that actually is true for, I would say, 99.9% of the people that are ever going to see this video. Especially, that would be true for like 100% of the women who are going to see this video. So these blue collar guys this shit is so wild. These are the guys that you would actually want to associate with. If you're a woman, these are the guys you would want to associate with and have their children, so that you could continue your bloodline and theirs, and then produce more human beings that would actually be of the inclination to associate themselves with the type of work that's necessary for the species to continue. But the fascinating and inverted part of our culture is that the women, the very women that these men would want to associate themselves with and align themselves with and take responsibility for and then have children with, look down on these guys. This is how you know God is a comedian. It's hilarious. It's sad and it's insane and it's inverted. But at the same time, once you can kind of take a step back, for you blue collar guys out there, once you can kind of take a step back from that position and just look at the big picture, this shit is hilarious. It's some of the funniest shit you could ever imagine. Where these these dudes that are the most honorable dudes you could shake a fucking stick at are looked at like actual pieces of shit. It's insane. And I can see why. It's funny to me because I can actually see the mechanics of how this works. And the most significant piece that drives the engine of this is self-respect. And it appears that these gentlemen who are these blue-collar construction working guys, these electricians, these plumbers, these welders and everything. Like, I'm a welder, okay? At the moment. I'm not really a welder. Previous to this, I was working in the mixed martial arts and health and fitness facility community for decades. At the same time as doing that, I've been in real estate and health and life insurance and property and casualty insurance. Previous to that, I had a decade of experience in the complete black market cannabis industry before any of that ever became legal anywhere. So I've got a lot of experience doing things like participating in the black market, transitioning into a bit of a gray market type of situation, and then moving forward from there. So my dabbling in this welding career situation, the last 5-6 years, It's more like a research project than anything else because I continue to do other things to actually make most of my money. But at the moment, it is completely fascinating how these guys that I work with, they completely lack discipline and self-respect, and those two things go hand in hand. One doesn't practice very well without the other. Okay, so that kind of goes without saying, right? Like if you don't have any self-respect, you don't have any discipline. If you don't have any discipline, you don't have any self-respect, right? I can explain this further if need be, but it's fairly obvious just on the face of the statement that it takes discipline and practicing behaviors that prove to yourself and to other people that you respect yourself in order to have both of those things. And then also, if you don't actually have mentally and any self-respect, then you're not going to practice anything that proves to the entire world that you have discipline. And it's kind of a spiraling kind of behavior pattern. And so I'm doing what I can to explain to these guys that it is absolutely, positively a crime against every man on earth for these fucking guys to simp to women that are just, I mean, so far beneath them. Even like really, really, really pretty girls. It's like, it's very challenging to explain to these fellas that these women, they can't even exist for like 96 hours if you don't get up and go to work in the morning and continue building this shit that they need to be alive. They're so incapable of self-sustainment that their life is in your hands every day. But these dudes get up and work these jobs for no fucking money. I mean, if there's any young men that come across these videos and you think about being a welder or an electrician or a plumber or any kind of construction worker, a carpenter, a framer, a roofer, a concrete guy, listen to me. If you're not 5 IQ points over being actually retarded, brother, get a real fucking job. I'm telling you this not because I don't have respect for these guys. I do. I'm telling you this because it is going to fuck your life up more than you could ever measure if you decide to dabble your fucking toes in the blue collar sector, okay? If you're going to be a mechanic, holy shit, man, you're fucked. Okay, you're fucked. If you're going to be a welder, if you're watching this stupid shit on the internet that tells you it's like you can make a lot of money welding or being a mechanic or being an electrician or being a lineman or whatever, homie, if you're capable of thinking your way out of a wet paper bag, it is critical that you do something else with your life. I would suggest very strongly that you learn how to do sales and then stick to that. And then start your own business and stick to that. You do not want to dabble in this blue collar shit at all. It's a massive, massive L. And why is that? Well, first of all, you're not going to make the kind of money that people say. They're fucking lying to you, okay? Second of all, if you want to have children, then you're going to need to be in a position of status, because women are going to choose you based on status first. So you have to have discipline and self-respect. That means you have to go to the gym and work out. This is not an option. Number 2, you have to have money. This is not an option. This is a standard, okay? And these girls that are going to say they don't care about money, they are lying to you. That is bullshit. That's actually almost all they care about. Please don't ruin your life by going and being a framer. You have got to be kidding me. And if your father isn't prepared to tell you this shit, then he's a failure as well. Just like what you're about to be. Okay? So if they're going to import, I don't know, 20, 30 million immigrants a year into America so that they can do these jobs, guess what, homie? Let them do these jobs. Get a real job. You will never get the respect of the woman that you want to respect you by being a framer, a carpenter, a welder, a roofer, a concrete foundation guy, an equipment operator, a crane operator, any kind of foreman, any kind of anything. That is not the program, bro. I have personally watched an uncountable number of blue-collar guys that you would have to say are absolutely honorable, they're absolutely respectable, they're good men, they're good-hearted men, and they practice behaviors on a daily basis that are suicidal because they can't get any respect from their own family or from a woman. If they were at any point in time able to actually find a woman to marry them, guess what? Now they're divorced. They're broke. They've been dragged through the court system. They've had their children taken away from them and alienated. They've been nickel and dimed to death by the government. And guess what? The absolute reverse of that is just as true. Just in my life alone, I've watched an uncountable number of street criminal, drug dealing, black market participating, slob ass motherfuckers get infinite respect from women, get unlimited access to sex, and perhaps they don't get the same amount of perceived respect from their family or whatever, but let's put some variables into the equation here. So if these blue collar guys are getting such high, massive levels of respect from their own family, why aren't they getting any women? Why isn't their family recommending them to be in fruitful relationships with the women that they know? You know what I mean? Why isn't there like aunts and uncles and sisters and everything like that, like hooking them up with their girlfriends and their, you know what I mean? They're not. They're not, and they won't. That ain't gonna happen. These guys are dying. It's sad as shit. I'm watching these guys die right in front of me. There's a lot of them that I try to talk to. I try to explain to them, hey man, like, you ever thought about, instead of working here, starting your own business, doing this and just working for yourself and subcontracting or whatever it might be? And you would be startled to know the reality behind the curtain. So when I see these guys go on podcasts or do interviews where they're talking to blue collar guys, they're mechanics, they're truck mechanics, they're equipment mechanics, they're equipment operators, or they're, welders of various kinds and whatnot, it really breaks my heart. It really breaks my heart to see these guys just lie through their teeth. You think making $100,000 as a welder is going to get you somewhere? It ain't. I can tell you that from personal experience right now. All right? I'm making about 108 a year, give or take a couple grand, right? As a welder. It is going to get you fucking nowhere if you're not willing to sell crack and do shit on the side. Bro, you're burnt. All right? You're burnt. So there's questions here you want to ask, right? Why would these women respect these street guys so much more than these blue collar guys? It's because the street guys respect themselves more than the blue collar guys respect themselves. Oh, no, that's not true. The blue collar guy... Shut the fuck up, man. Are you going to get up at 3:45 in the morning? Okay, here's what I do. I get up at 3:45 in this hotel, and I go work out. I drink a half a cup of coffee. I go hit the gym. I lift weights in the morning. Shower right in the morning, get to breakfast, then head out to the job site. And then we work all day long, depending on the weather. If the sun comes out, we work later. If it rains or snows or whatever, guess what? Sometimes that don't mean shit. And we got to keep working. Because most of you people would fucking die if we stopped. Most of the guys I work with, most of them, if not almost all of them, okay? Almost all of them make less than $65K a year. Less than that. And that doesn't count for expenses. All right? I would say 99% of any blue collar guy in any trade that I've met in the last 6 years, all of them make less than $65K. What are they going to do with that? What are they going to do? Not a damn thing. But they're still going to get up in the morning and go to work tomorrow. They'll still do it. Now, it's much more difficult to put a number on all of the black market kind of street guys that I've worked with in all of my years. But I would say the ones that were doing that type of work full time, not the ones that were working a 9 to 5 and then doing some black market shit on the side, but the ones that were just doing black market shit all the time, full time. I don't know, man. The majority of them, like over 50%, are complete failures. They don't make any money. They don't have fancy cars. They don't have jewelry. They don't have nice equipment. They don't have they don't have a fucking pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. But let's say the 30% to 40% just that I knew, that I did business with, that I associated with, that I could count on, that I knew had self-respect and discipline and understood the massive importance of being able to read people and know whether or not they are telling you the truth or telling you a lie. And that alone could keep them alive and out of a fucking box being put into the ground. And those guys, well, they would get massive respect from women and basically unlimited access to sex. How come? Self-respect, and it's reflected in what they do. They're not going to get up at 3:45 in the morning and go clock in for somebody else. They won't do it. They're not going to go outside and work in the rain and the snow. Not happening. You need something that they have for sale, you're going to come to them. You're going to follow their rules. If they want you to jump through hoops, you're going to jump through hoops. They're not going to jump through hoops for you. You're a fucking customer. You get no fucking respect. Are you kidding me? You need them. They don't need you. So think about it like that. And then think about how much of that reflects into all of your interactions with all of the people that you interact with, most especially people that you can determine are weaker than you, which is going to be women. And once you stop pedestalizing women and you realize that women are weaker than you, women are cowards, women are liars, well then perhaps you'll stop simping. You'll probably never have success with women. But if you do, it's because you learned to stop simping. And you learned to start respecting yourself. And you're not going to be able to do that without discipline. It's going to take a massive amount of discipline to stop simping and respect yourself. And nothing I'm saying here at all should be or could be interpreted as treating other people with disrespect. Absolutely not. If you're going to be a street guy and you're going to be successful, you're going to have to learn that it's critical to treat other people with respect. But you're also going to learn that it is absolutely critical not to treat people with more respect than they display for their own self from their own behavior. Because as soon as you start to respect someone more than they respect themselves, well, now they know that you're weaker than them. And only the strong survive. When there's no 911 to call, when there's no one coming to save you, when you can't rely on anybody else for help outside of your own very small, very tight circle of trust of hitters, which, by the way, you can't form a circle of trust of hitters if you're not one. So when there's no one that's going to come to save you, you can't call the cops. If somebody robs you, if somebody does a home invasion on you, if somebody rolls up and does a drive-by on you, you can't call nobody. Fuck you gonna call? You gonna call somebody to help you? No. So these chicks aren't gonna respect you either. You'll get nothing from them. Keep that in mind. Don't simp. All we do is win. Like, subscribe, comment. You know the drill.